Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again for another First Impression Fridays, and today I'm going to be talking about Goldfield and Banks. So I'm going to be trying out two of their fragrances, Bohemian Lime and also Desert Rosewood. So stay tuned for that. And if you like top 10 lists, fragrance reviews, clone comparisons, and first impressions, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So Goldfield and Banks is I believe they're an Australian brand, and they're known really well for Pacific Rock Moss, which I believe, done a review on this one, which is a nice fragrance, but the performance for me was not that great. The one nice thing about it is you can pretty much spray as much as you like, so you can at least amp it up a little bit by spraying more. And it is pleasant. It's a very likable fragrance, and I think it's one of those fragrances that pretty much everyone is going to be at least not displeased by. But I have wanted to try more from their line, and I heard a lot about Bohemian Lime. Sounded like an exciting freshie. Some people call it Lime Ventus, so it's supposed to be Adventus but with lime, so we'll see about that. And then Desert Rosewood sounded good to me. I do like woody fragrances, and this sounds like it's going to be a nice woody fragrance, but I wanted to try something that people don't talk about so much, so I decided to get that one. I'm going to try, though, Bohemian Lime first, just because I guess it's the one I'm most interested in. I usually save the best for last, but you know what? I just decided to switch it up a little bit this time and save the one do the one I'm most excited about first. So I can smell that a little bit in the air even now. Okay, so I do kind of see why people at least refer to this a bit as Lime Ventus. Something about that bergamot does give that sort of crisp, fruity kind of vibe that a Ventus has in the opening. But to me, at least, anyways, I would say that's a very small connection, because I did get a little bit of that right away, but it's kind of simmered down a little bit. Now, there's some kind of Australian lime in this that I believe is not like normal, well, lime from elsewhere, the lime that we're familiar with, or most of us are familiar with. So I'm not sure. I think it does, to me it seems a little bit different. It does have that limey kind of a vibe, but it does definitely smell not like the lime I'm used to if you smelled like Virgin Island water, or the even better tropical Hawaiian Volcano Intense by Alexandria, which is like an intense version of their clone of Virgin Island water. That one has crazy lime in it. This has a somewhat similar vibe, but there's something different here that makes this lime smell a little bit different. Now, it does have, like I said, that limey quality. It's fresh. There's a slight bit of sweetness there, and I will say, this does seem to be projecting pretty well off my skin. So, like I said, with Pacific Rock Moss, it is a nice enough fragrance, but the biggest complaint I had is the performance is quite poor. And, you know, a lot of people say that about it, but this one is definitely seeming like the performance is a lot stronger. It's becoming a lot more limey, the kind of lime that I'm used to anyways. And it does smell really nice, very lime dominant. Like I said, a hint of sweetness, and very, very slight in the background, almost kind of candied vibe with that sweetness. But it's sort of settling still, so I'm going to actually go over to the Desert Rosewood and check that one out, see how it goes, and let the Bohemian Lime digest a little bit, see if it changes a little bit. So this one has a nice orangey color to it. So this is a little bit sweet. I definitely get a woodiness there, and I do get a little bit of what feels like a floral component. But it's like a sweet, somewhat floral, almost a little bit airy. This is almost, I mean, this borders on being fresh. and a woody fragrance for sure. I'm definitely picking up wood. And it does have a very rich... So this one does have a bit of an exotic feel to it. And I don't know if it's the name or something with the name. It definitely has a feel to it. Like a Middle Eastern desert or something like that. It does definitely give off those vibes where I do get a kind of desert feeling. So again, I don't know if that's the suggestion of the title, of the name of this fragrance, or if it's definitely, I mean, you would think it's composed to kind of give that kind of impression, and certainly it does. It does smell familiar though. Can't quite put my finger on this one, but it does smell a little bit like some kind of Eastern fragrance that I've smelled before. So it's not... It is something about it is similar. Now the woodiness, I know there's not, or at least I don't think there's any oud in this, but it does smell, the woodiness does have a little bit of that sort of slightly pungent feel that some oud fragrances have. And I know a lot of oud fragrances, they don't actually have real oud in it. So, I mean, at this point, who knows how many fragrances I've smelled actually have any actual oud in it. But it does have something in it that gives off that feeling, and it also gives off kind of an almost ambery type of feel. So there's something there that's a little bit sweet and a little bit resinous, which does definitely give me that feeling. But definitely very woody, and like I said, there's a little bit of pungentness there. There is something about this fragrance that feels a little bit classy. Definitely feels a little bit more upscale than Bohemian Lime. I'm going to go back to Bohemian Lime, see if any of the other elements in the fragrance have really started to develop. So this is actually pretty nice, I'm going to admit. I like lime in fragrances, and I do feel like lime is not prominent enough in enough fragrances. There are many fragrances that have a little bit of lime, but you can't often pick it up. And I feel like lime is not used enough. And this does have a very fresh, slightly sweet lime to it, which is really quite nice. By this point in the fragrance, anyways, I definitely don't really understand why people call this lime ventus. Like I said, on that initial sniff, there was something there that gave me that impression that a ventus has in the opening, but this is quite different. There's a little bit of greenness. Something in there feels green. I think it's probably partially the lime. So it has a very slight kind of green, fresh, a little bit invigorating, a little bit uplifting kind of a vibe with that lime, and a little bit of sweetness. But actually, this is really nice. I'm definitely going to have to give this one a full wearing and really test it out and see how it performs. But it does seem to have quite a bit of potential to be a nice spring-summer fragrance. I'm going to go back to the Desert Rosewood, give it a little bit of a chance, see if it's changed a little bit. It's only been there for a couple minutes, so it's probably not changed too much, but so this is really interesting, actually. This is actually very interesting. It does, you know what, it kind of reminds me of like an Amouage fragrance, I think. Something from the Opus collection or something. There's something about this fragrance that does do that for me. Like I said, it has a little bit of a slightly airy, very slightly floral, but mostly very woody with a slight sweetness kind of mixed in there. But now I'm definitely getting a very dry woody vibe. That sort of ambery feel that it had. I definitely wouldn't say that I'm really picking that up, so I don't know if that was just my nose playing tricks on me. But now what I get from this mostly is a slightly sweet, airy, and sort of densely dry wood fragrance. But I think it's that slight floral vibe that it has with the woodiness that makes me think a little bit of one of the Opus fragrances. I forget which one, but there is one that's kind of like this with this floral vibe. And it's not intensely floral. Like, if you don't like florals like I don't, this is actually quite digestible, even though it does have a floral vibe. This is a little bit better than I was expecting it would be. Even though I've said it does smell kind of familiar to things, I feel like it is a fairly unique fragrance. And it's definitely different than Bohemian Lime and Pacific Rock Moss, which is nice. It's nice to see a brand that's able to do a little bit of different stuff. So that's really cool. So I think I'm going to end the first impressions there. Yeah, they're kind of stable, both. Very nice. I actually do like both of these fragrances, although I will say I kind of like Bohemian Lime a little bit more just because that really strong lime is actually really nice. But very good. They do kind of contrast each other. I think this would be a good sort of desert rose would be nice for the fall or the spring. It's not really that heavy feeling, not that thick. So, I mean, you could probably wear it in the winter, but it depends on how cold it is. But it does feel also a little bit more classy, something you could even wear to the office or to more formal occasions, whereas Bohemian Lime, the quality is there. It does have a lot of quality, but it still feels like a freshie, which it is. So, again, spring, summer, and something that's going to be really, really nice for kind of a chill kind of thing where you're going out, having fun, all that kind of stuff. But that lime is very, very strong. And like I said, there's something about the lime that they use that definitely has a bit of a different vibe to it. It's really cool. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Have you tried anything from Goldfield and Banks? Leave a comment down below on what you've tried, what you like. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next video.